Today we're looking at squares. All kinds of squares, combination squares. Got a woodpecker square here. I got some metal squares. We're just going to take a look at them all, framing squares over here. We're just going to take a look at them all and mainly how to make sure they're square. Because I've been on projects and you come in here and you squared that up, whether it's dovetails or box joints, locking rabbets, it doesn't matter. Then you work off this edge right here, so it needs to be square. And the reason, what got me was, you make a drawer, four-sided drawer, and the longer the drawer or wider the drawer, it kind of compounds the issue. Let's say this little square was off just a little. Well, by the time you run 12 inches, let's say, or 10 inches this way, you get all your joinery put together. Now you set it down and it's got a little rock to it. Now you're scratching your head, where did I mess up? Well, what the problem was, it was a little out of square. Not much. But by the time you go around 4 joints, or 12 inches, or because it really compounds the bigger the drawer. If this joint is square, it'll set flat. You got it dimensioned correctly, and you have it square across the end. So you could take your marking gauge and mark that accurate. It's going to set down flat. That happened to me, and I could not figure out why, I actually done it twice. What am I doing wrong? And something come up and I had to leave. Life happened, and it was 3 or 4 days, 5 days. Later on that week, come back, and I decided I'd just go ahead and do it again, and it sat down there fine. Now I am scratching my head. What in the world was I doing? These especially aluminum, this is metal here. I had an aluminum framing square. You absolutely did not know what you had until you checked it. Because every once in a while, it was right. But between the humidity, barometric pressure, metal moves, it's like wood does, but not near as much. I have got a pretty good masonry level here. And when you're looking at this, you got wood here and you got brass here. So you would think that's just there to protect the corners, but that's not necessarily true. Because brass moves, and so does wood. As pressure changes, the humidity, the moisture changes. But they found out this moves in opposite directions. It keeps itself straight all the time. Well, you got a metal square here. There's nothing keeping it straight all the time. Aluminum moves a lot. That's what I was using at the time. I had a combination square. It was the big brother to this little fella right here. It was 15 inches. Well, if you think about it, this little 6-inch rule, and you come out 15 inches, if there's an error, it just compounds it the further you go. One day it was fine, and 2 or 3 days you checking it, it was off quite a bit. I gave that square away, and I told them when I gave it to them, this thing is only right every now and again. They took it. Of course, if you're building a deck, this don't come into play. It's the joinery where it comes into play. So we're going to come in here and I'm going to show you the tools and how I make sure my square, and actually this square right here, I'll show you how you can take a punch and make it square, dial it in. However, in a week or so, when the pressure changes, you'll have to do it again. So that's really not an option. But if you had to get this thing on it, you can do it. I've done it right there. I'll show all that to you. So let me bring in here and I'll show you how I check a square. Okay, on my bench, well, actually it's the outfeed table to my table saw. I've got a straight edge that I've cut on purpose. I keep it good and straight for this reason. That's important. It doesn't have to be square. It's just that area's got to be straight. Because what we're going to do, you can see where I've checked them in the past. I've fixed this up a little spot right here. We're going to check it out right there. So what we're going to do, we're going to check the Woodpecker first, and see how good it is. The way I do it, I take me a knife, and I use these pencils like this, number 2 pencils, and I keep them in a sharpener, and I keep them sharp. When I use these right here, the wood grain, it breaks the lid all to pieces. So what you do, so I'll put me a tick mark right here beside I get it on this straight edge. I'll put me a tick mark, that way I know I can get back to it. And I'll take this pencil, make sure it's just laid down, and I will purposely come off the end like that, because when you do the same thing over here, it'll go this way and it'll tell you which way you're out. So I find that same tick mark. I'll scoot up right to it, and we'll go again. All right. We've got Woodpecker right here. So we started right here, and we got one line all the way up, and see where it come off the end on both directions. So actually today, the Woodpecker's right on the money. I have been hung with that Woodpecker. It has gotten off, depending on the pressure and all. But I got these things right here. The cost of this right here, this whole set, is about $20 more than this one. And I've yet to check these and they'd be off. But we'll find a combination square, they'll be off on occasion. It's too many moving parts, and it's got to hit this point and this point right here. So let's just check it. We're going to use the same method. We're going to use the same method right here. I'm going to find me a tick point. All right, we're going to, right off the end, that shows, going that way, it shows it come off that side. Okay. It line's a little fatter right there, but if it's consistent, yeah, it's consistent all the way down. So my combination square is good. I got these little squares right here that when I was taking mechanical drawing in high school, I just hung on to them. They're pretty handy, but see the pressure, the moisture, and stuff like that don't affect them. But they're not real ideal. This one would be ideal. It's got a place where it hangs right there. So I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's check out the Old Faithfuls right here. So far, at any time, I check it regular. I don't want it to bite me. So what I can do right here, we'll just check it the same way. Let's take a look at that one. This one right here. Well, I tell you what. These, I have checked them. I don't know. I don't take it for granted. I check them. I keep them checked. I have had this one be off on occasion. But it doesn't look like I'm going to have anything off. I can take, I'm going to clamp this straight edge here. And we will check the framing squares. And what I have done, if a square is off, they claim that you can come in here and you can file, there's points that this thing sets on both sides. You can file one side and you can dial that dude in. But if it's off, you got to check it every time, because when the pressure changes, this is one right here. If y'all notice, I keep one at my apron right here. Every time I've checked it, and it's been on the money. But a 6-inch square will stay nearer on than a longer one, because if it's off a little, it's further you go, the more it's off. But this one right here, I got it from my mother's husband. He gave these two to me. But he got these back in the 60s. I rarely see them off. I really can't tell. There it is. Can't make out. Wardmaster? Can't say I ever heard of that. I don't know if you can see that or not. Wardmaster. Okay. The other one is I really can't. Company, Saginaw, Michigan. I've actually heard of them. The one that was off nearly every time was the mate to this thing. It left the shop. So, but what we can do, we'll check out the framing square. But the characteristics of a framing square, I'm going to have to use a straight edge like this, because they don't hang off the side like it needs to. But you don't need the thing moving as we go. So I'm going to let it rest right there. So I'll put me a tick mark. As your eyes golden and fading over the years, little tick marks we can find exactly where you was is really handy. That way there's no doubt where you was at. So let me find that tick again. You can feel it when it drops in. Yeah, that's just a handy method of using. All right, we're going to make sure that thing comes up off of it. Here we go. Okay. All right, I'm going to circle this thing. That way we'll get over here and look at it. So this is the one. All right, you see it's starting to separate right there. And look how far it's off. You can I've taken punches and you can dial that in. That's why when you come off the ends, you can tell it's open too far. So if it's open too far, you hit up here and bring it back. But the thing about it is next week you'll have to do the same thing. And what I have found, aluminum moves a lot. I had an aluminum framing square they would move so much. I mean, I've seen this distance right here be, it was pitiful. It was so far off. And it left the shop. But then again, you're building a roof or something like that, or building a deck, that's plenty close enough. Plenty. But what you got to do is have the right tool for the right job. And these have not let me down, and this one, and this one. Every time I've checked it, it's been on the money. This one has been off a little bit, but that's all aluminum. But if you get by a good one, you're going to have a mixture of material to counteract against one another. But these are actual machine squares where they set them in machine shops. But these have not. I've had these a pretty good while. I've had them, I don't know, they're probably 7 or 8 years old. And I got this one right here. I got it, I think it was my birthday. The family got together and they bought that for me. If you got Woodpecker products and they're doing you good, more power to you. You're lucky. I'm not so lucky with that one. It's on today. I could use it today, but it's off more than it's on. So I just rely on these here. When I reach and grab them, I grab something I can count on. And after a while, you do it enough, you'll grab something you count on. You'll see after a while, you can count on, because, man, I tell you what, when I was working that joint, it was box joints I was doing. And it was pretty good while ago. I had a rigid table saw, and it was a good table saw. So it gets you doubting the table saw. It gets you doubting your ability to put them together. It gets you, I was using a dado stack. And you were thinking about everything else. What could be the problem? Come to find out, my square was off. So I laid it on, and it was a square like this, and I laid it on my miter gauge, put it against it, and my wife came down. I said, let me show you how far this thing was off. Well, that day, it was right on the money. But that's when I learned. So I found me a way to check these squares to save you headache wherever you can. Because time's too valuable in the shop to be frustrated that your tools are letting you down. So I come up with a way to check my squares, and life has been a whole lot better. When I get ready to do a joint, it works out. Now, if I screw the handsaw up, or it's on me. But my tools ain't letting me down, because it gets you thinking, well, am I cutting it wrong? What am I doing wrong? Come find out your tools. Or it was in my situation, it was my tools let me down. So a Starrett combination square costs more than these things you can buy at a big box store, and it's for a reason. But then again, what's at the big box store, if you're not doing joinery in a fine woodworking shop, that will treat you fine. But if you're setting up equipment, it has to be dialed in there. You need to count on your stuff. You need to be able to count on it. So I got to thinking, they got these things in the machinist shops where they're down to the thousands and thousands. And I was talking to a fellow one time, he was showing me about these. I don't know how you would say that. I'm not good on pronunciation, but I have found, not to say this is the only kind, this is the kind I use. I've had good luck with it. This was recommended to me, and I bought it. I even put I put my logo on it. I'm so proud of it. Yeah, what about that? So I hope this helps. Hope y'all learned something from this. If you've had some frustration on getting joinery to work out and set flat down like it ought to, because when you get ready to go into your carcass and that thing's setting good and flat, it's a whole, and you got everything else square, it's going together is so much better. It sure is. It saves a lot of frustration, and this is something that really you need to stay ahead of. And man, I tell you what, I try not to drop these on this concrete floor. That will mess them up. I just want to chime in here because and show you how I square. I had these things lines almost all the way across. I got me a sander out today and fixed this a place where I needed to anyway. I was saying, dude, about full. So I just keep eye on your squares. Get your square good, and you can get your blade straight up. It just helps all the way around. Your joinery, setting up your machines. So I hope that does it. I hope that helps. It ain't nothing in the world like having good tools. If you can stand it to pay the little extra for the good stuff, you'll just cry one time. You buy the cheap stuff, you'll cry twice. I mean, it every time you use it. Then it gets you thinking, man, what am I doing wrong? I mean, it gets you doubting whether you can even use a handsaw or not. And come to find out, it's use your tools. So I think I've stressed that enough. Again, I hope you learned something, and y'all be safe. This ain't just words. Y'all be safe, because if what you're using in the shop can cut wood, it can cut you. So be safe, and I'll catch you on the next one.